What is the difference in federal and state tip credit laws? Imagine working in a restaurant where your tips are a big part of your paycheck. Now, what if your employer can count some of those tips toward your minimum wage? That's where tip credit laws come into play. Understanding how federal and state laws handle tipped employee wages can really impact how much you earn and how you're paid. At the federal level, the Fair Labor Standards Act allows employers to pay tipped employees as little as $2.13 per hour in cash wages. The idea is that tips will make up the difference to reach the federal minimum wage, which is currently $7.25 per hour. Employers can claim a tip credit for the difference between the cash wage and the minimum wage, but certain rules must be followed. For example, tipped employees must actually earn enough tips to cover that tip credit amount. Employers must also inform employees about the tip credit rules, and employees are required to keep all their tips, except for tips shared through valid tip pooling among tip staff. Importantly, the tip credit cannot be used to calculate overtime pay at a higher rate. States, however, have their own rules and many are stricter. Some states do not allow tip credits at all, meaning employers must pay tipped workers the full state minimum wage before tips. For instance, California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, Minnesota, Montana, and Nevada all prohibit tip credits and requiring employers to pay the full minimum wage regardless of tips. Other states may allow tip credits but requiring higher cash wages than the federal minimum of $2.13. State laws often include extra steps, like requiring employees to be notified about tip credit rules or signing certifications that they earn enough tips. Some states also have rules about tip pooling, which is sharing tips among staff. Federal law permits tip pooling only among tipped employees and excludes managers and non-tipped staff. But some states restrict or prohibit tip sharing with certain employees, making the rules more strict. Both federal and state laws requiring overtime pay to be based on the full minimum wage, not just the tipped minimum wage. This means if you work overtime, your pay rate is calculated on the full minimum wage, regardless of whether a tip credit is used. Employers working in multiple states need to stay on top of these differences. If a state does not allow tip credits or has higher minimum wages, employers must follow those rules instead of federal standards. Proper record keeping and clear communication with employees about their tips and wages are essential to stay compliant. So, in simple terms, federal law sets a low cash wage for tipped workers and allows tip credits, but many states have stricter rules. Some states prohibit tip credits altogether and requiring full minimum wages. Knowing these differences helps ensure workers are paid correctly and employers avoid wage violations.